Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between. My name is Kexman, and you're joining me here as I take my first look at the Halo series trailer that was released today. It's obviously showing on Paramount. We've had a couple of hints, we've had a couple of showings of what's happening with this series during the Game Awards. There was a leaked set of images about 2-3 months ago, which got people quite excited. That excitement has since died down because they've mentioned that this is obviously in a slightly different universe, slightly different timeline. There's a couple of things that are same. There's a couple of things that are wrong. Or I say wrong, that are not the same as what we have in the main timeline, which honestly I don't necessarily have any issues with. I know a lot of people that do, but I don't myself have any issues with that because it does give them a little bit of freedom to tell a slightly different story, one that might be better suited for a story such as this. But time is going to tell to see whether or not that plays out. I am a massive, massive fan of Halo. You can't quite see, but just behind me above here, there's like all the special editions, all of the novels are down here. I've read all of those. I've been playing the game since it first came out on the Xbox. It's probably my favourite game of all time. I absolutely love everything that Halo has to offer, and the fact that we now have a proper series that's coming to pretty much the closest thing we're going to get to a big screen release, a cinema release. We've obviously had a couple of various different web series. We've had the Legends. We've obviously had the Fall of Reach comic, Forward Unto Dawn, Nightfall, which honestly, I've enjoyed all of those. I know some people that haven't, but for myself personally, I have enjoyed them. So I'm excited to see what this has to hold. So once again, this is my first time viewing this, so without further ado, let's take a look and see what this has to offer for us. And there's a couple of storyline beats that we know about. We'll see if they're mentioned here. But so far, this opening shot here, it looks incredible. Okay, so this is obviously the Covenant.
Humanity's best weapon.
Chief, he looks so good.
The Master Chief was enhanced and trained for one purpose: to win this war.
There's Halsey.
The other Spartans.
There's the other Spartans.
Effective weapons against the Covenant.
Oh god, the Elite looks so good.
Upgradable. And most importantly, controllable.
Oh, he looks so good. Wait, hang on, controllable.
Excavating some kind of object. When I touched the object, I felt something.
Controllable. So are we getting...
I felt different. What they did to us makes you numb.
Okay, so they've slightly got a different
Why would a Spartan do that?
take on the Spartans.
Human, you're not sure you can trust.
Hello, Master Chief.
Cortana.
Cortana.
I don't know how I feel about that. Don't know how I feel about that. Oh god, the Jackal. The Jackal looks so good.
Sacred ring. Halo.
Halo.
Humans
Prophets.
surrender to the Covenant.
Legolo.
Cortana, I'm gonna need you now. Find the Halo. Win the war.
Okay. Okay. There's a lot to take in there. Let's go back and take a look at some of these shots that happened during. So we've obviously got Chief with the warthog gun. You can kind of see a warthog in the background there. There's a great shot, I believe, of one of the jackals. There's a couple of moments where we see Chief outside of the suit, and I think we may actually see his face because there was a voice line that was very, very different. It sounded different, didn't sound muffled by the helmet. So I think we're going to see Chief without his helmet on. I think they're going to save that. The Spartan armor looks incredible. The Spartan armor looks so good. Obviously, they've changed it up. It doesn't look like we're going to get the full proper blue team that we do get in the books and in the game series. So very excited about that. Very excited about that. I mean, look how good Chief looks in motion, and the elites look fantastic as well. We've got a first-person shot here, kind of like in the games. You can see the assault rifle is pretty much in the exact same position as it would be in the game, so that's incredible. The shield looks fantastic on the elites. There was a close-up shot of one of the elites, I believe. That is how an elite should look. I feel like the snout should be a little bit more pronounced. It does kind of almost look like a pug. Almost looks like a pug sort of snout. It's all pushed up, but outside of that, I think it looks incredible. There was another great shot. I mean, this shot here of Chief taking on the elites. The elites look a little bit big. The elites look a little bit big for my liking. I feel as though they should be slightly shorter, a little bit more lithe, but I'm not going to complain too much because the CGI looks great. There was also a shot of a jackal, I believe, at one point. I can't remember where that shot of the jackal was, but it did look very good. I'm not sure on them saying that they are controllable. I don't know how I feel about that, them saying that the Spartans are controllable. That to me is a little bit strange. That to me feels a little bit strange, although I can kind of understand it because they do dictate where the Spartans go, so maybe it's just a turn of phrase. I hope they're not directly controlling them, because I feel like that would be too far ahead of what's happening. We did get a couple of mentions of, obviously, the Spartan 2 program, what that meant and what it actually entailed, and how horrific it was. So we could potentially start to see some pushback on that. That would be quite nice. I feel like that would be very nice. We also get Chief discovering where Halo is, which I feel as though is not too bad, because in the games it does kind of... In the games, it almost feels like a random jump, and then when you read the novels and you read much more into it, there's actually a lot of information that goes into that. There's a lot of information that goes into that jump, and it wasn't completely random from Cortana. Speaking of Cortana, we obviously see one of the first images of Cortana in this, which... I don't know how I feel about that. This is the one thing that I feel very off on. It doesn't feel right. It feels a little bit strange. So, gonna kind of wait and see how that plays out. I think that's something that needs to get used to. The fact that it's got the human skin and the hair and like it's coloured, it feels odd. Cortana should just be blue. Now, maybe this is going to be something where it's a little bit of a red herring. She possibly will be blue in the series. Maybe they meet for the first time and Chief comments on it and she turns blue. I don't know, but again, it feels very strange. We also got a fantastic look at some of the drop ships in the background there. You can see a Phantom. Again, looks beautiful. I feel as though the CGI isn't quite done yet, because they could probably make it look a little bit better. But once again, I'm liking the plasma explosions you kind of see in the background. I'm liking the design that they have for all of that. Obviously, a sniper rifle. Looks to be an S7 sniper rifle, the rifle that we do have here. Another shot of some of the armor, which again looks brilliant. It looks really solid. And I'm very happy with the design. If I remember rightly, a lot of the armor they have is practical, which once again is beautiful because it shows up much better. And in the background, I've only just noticed on that screenshot, a mongoose. It's just behind my camera, but you can also see it on the right hand side. There's a mongoose there as well, and it looks as though they do have somebody behind them. I'm not sure what's happening. It looks as though they're aiming at something. The person that's on the back does look like they're aiming at something, so maybe this is a defense situation where they have to defend a hangar. I'm not entirely sure. There was also a interesting point that was... So you've obviously got a Covenant ship here. It seems as though it's been disabled. I'm not entirely sure what's happening there, but we also get a quick look at this character. In the background, you can see the Anodyne Spirit, which is the Forerunner dropship. And this character is interesting because... in this timeline, she is a human that has been effectively taken in by the Covenant and almost brainwashed to hate humanity. She's taken on their beliefs. And this originally got a lot of people quite angry because they were like, oh, the Covenant don't do this. But when you actually read into a lot of the storyline with the Covenant, you realise that they never really hated humanity. or at least the prophets didn't. The High Prophets didn't necessarily hate humanity. They didn't like the fact that they were going to break the prophets' rule. They were going to break the prophets' rule over the Covenant because the prophets ruled by, you know, the Forerunner information was sacred. They would go on the great journey, and then all of a sudden, actually, humanity was found to be the people who were going to be taking up the mantle of responsibility. They were reclaimers, which, you know, obviously throws the Covenant into complete disarray and does away with all their rhetoric. So, you know, the prophets just wanted to get rid of them. The great book, Contact Harvest by Joseph Staten. Go and check that out if you haven't already. It is a beautiful book and gives you a lot of information into the inner workings of the hierarchy of the Covenant and why regret, truth, and mercy were at the level they were during Halo 3 and Halo 2, and I suppose Halo 1 respectively as well. So this storyline, I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think it does fit in with this story, but again, whether or not it's going to work in the long run, we'll have to wait and see. But there was some other brilliant shots here. Obviously, we can see this shot particularly. So these are obviously Lekolo worms, and these form hunters, as we know them in the Halo universe, Megalogolo. This does seem to be a UNSC ship. So whether or not this shot here, and where is the other shot? Whether or not that shot and this shot is connected, I don't know. What we may see happen here is that the human that the Covenant have taken over could potentially be hiding on this ship with a bunch of those Golo worms, and then this ship gets boarded and she takes over the UNSC ship. Maybe that's a possibility. We're going to have to wait and see, but I'm loving the designs of the interior of the UNSC ship. It looks very, very clean. Looks similar to what we've seen with, obviously, the Pillar of Autumn and the UNSC Infinity, so quite happy with that one as well. There was also another shot that we had of the prophets. I mean, this shot here of Chief and the team looks great. The fact they've all got the various different armor variations, but there was also a shot of the prophets stood with the girl. There we go. So we don't actually get to see the prophets up close, but you can see them in their chairs. You know exactly who it is. It does look as though the person that is down there with them is carrying something underneath their arm. It almost looks like a helmet. So that could potentially be a Spartan down there. There is a chance that it could be a Spartan. I'm not sure how much that is, but they're looking quite bulky. Looks like they've got their helmet. Is it Chief? Is Chief somehow going to meet up with the prophets? Once again, we don't know. There's a lot of information that goes on in this trailer. I, for one, am very, very excited for it. March 24th. I missed that on my first watch through. March 24th confirmed. So, Paramount Plus, March 24th, Halo series. I'm excited for it. You should be excited for it. I'll be sure to be watching along with all of these episodes. You'll be able to catch my reactions here as well. You know, if you do want to see those reactions, make sure you click the subscription button. Obviously, I do reactions to various. I'll be doing reactions to various other things that come out. I'm very, very excited for some of the new Marvel series. Once again, Moon Knight specifically. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But for now, my name has been Kexman. March 24th is when Halo comes out. I'm going to need a weapon.